Welcome back, tribe. I have an interesting video here from Daryl Solis. It says the UK is a dystopia and I'm leaving soon. So if you've been keeping up, they have a huge migrant problem, literally two-tier policing and the cops busting down your door to arrest you for memes. I mean, it's gotten pretty dystopian in the UK, so let's hear a first-hand experience.
This one is just straight off the cuff, guys, talking about what it's...
Oh, they even threatened to arrest Americans that were posting memes. I kid you not. Some police chief in the UK said Americans would get arrested. Obviously, there's no way to enforce that, but that's how scared they're trying to make everyone.
It's like to live in the UK. I'm from the UK. I'm from Edinburgh, Scotland. And I live in Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm working full-time for a bank.
Field time.
I am earning only £19,200 a year after tax and national insurance. The average salary when I was born in 1987 was about £19,200. I am earning the average salary in 2024, almost 2025. I'm only earning the average salary in the UK in 1987. Yes. The average house price in 1987, the year I was born, was that.
Oh my God. £41,000.
The average salary is that. Today.
So double. Okay, so they were earning $19,000 average salary and the houses were 41, so essentially 2x. So average houses and average salaries were only 2x, two multiple. Can you imagine that today? If the average in the United States is say 50,000, that means the average house should be priced at $100,000 if our fiat currency wasn't so debased.
Okay, the average salary is this.
Unreal.
In the UK,
so the average salary is $28,000 now.
House price is the
500, 288. Eef.
I looked at the figures earlier and I was absolutely shocked. So yes, old timers, all the baby boomers in this country, they all say, I worked a lot, and I paid for my house. But yeah, it was a lot easier to buy a house back in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s compared to what it's like nowadays. So I'm happy to be from Scotland. I had a very nice upbringing, free education. We have kind of a good free healthcare system. It's not really free. It used to be a lot better than what it is today. But yes, the point of this video today is to explain why I've decided to leave the UK.
Let's hear it.
It's not affordable here. If you want a high standard lifestyle, if you want to live by yourself, have a car, work full time, but for not too long. If you want to retire early, the UK.
He said high standard. Guys, that's the basics. To just have a car and a house is the very basic bare minimum. Without that, it's increasingly more difficult to even have a family or a woman take you seriously. Are you kidding me? Think about that for a second. Just the basics of having a house and a car is unreachable.
It is not the place. It's ridiculously expensive here.
Wow.
The average salary now is this. Again, that is not enough.
Don't you love inflation?
Not enough for people to live a high standard lifestyle in what's supposed to be a first world country. This is not a first world country. This is a dystopia pretending to be a first world country that has a very low standard. The crime rate's getting higher. Illegal immigration or illegal migration, whatever you want to call it, is getting higher. We have politicians that don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to fix anything. They just make things worse. We have
two-tier kier
prime minister in office now who just exacerbates all the issues that we've got, doesn't bother to actually address them and fix them.
For Americans, they basically have their version of Kamala, but she won the presidency. Imagine that.
Just makes them worse. There is no hope for this country, the UK. This place is done.
Oh, shit.
This place, the UK, doesn't matter where, Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland. This is not an up-and-coming country. The UK has had its glory day. It's had its high, probably.
It's nuts to me that that entire Brexit thing that was going on, that they were fighting tooth and nail to get out of the oppressive thumb of the EU and all their bureaucracy and, migrant policy and all that shit, ended up being for nothing because they have probably one of the worst migrant problems in all of Europe. Isn't that crazy? They left the EU. They left that entire singular market, which cost them hundreds of billions of pounds. lower the quality of life of all Britons. And what did they get rewarded with? Not border security, not stemming migration. That sure as hell didn't happen. I mean, that's wild.
The best time in this country to be a working adult was probably when I was born in the 80s and the 90s, maybe even the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But as things are now, with the cost of living and all the issues
taxes
that we are facing here, it doesn't matter
taxes
if you're British or not. If you're living here in the UK and if you're working here full time, you already know what I'm talking about. And it's really important that well, for me, I'm not going to just continue living and working in the UK, earning what I earn, paying what I'm paying for rent, groceries, bills, you name it. The prices are going up for everything. I love driving. I have a driving license. I don't have a car. Why? Well, because I live in the city. I don't really need a car.
For perspective, by the way, if you're in, for example, let's talk Eastern Europe, it being cheaper and all that. If you have a Western salary, the people here are hurting in the exact same fashion our boy in the UK is, the exact same fashion all of you watching back home in America are. It's the same issue. With the local salaries, the local cost of living has completely spiraled out of control. Now, when you're able to go and do like some international arbitrage where you have a Western salary with an Eastern standard of living, for example, that's when you get to benefit. But if you move to Romania, for example, and you want to earn local Romanian salaries, you will be in the same position this guy's in. It's brutal.
But it would be really nice to have a car. If I got a car, I would have to pay, for the car, for the insurance, for the road tax, for the maintenance, and I don't even have a parking space, so I would have to pay for a parking permit. So excluding the car, that's 4 big payments I need to make every year. So for me, based on the salary that I'm earning, I cannot afford to live in the city by myself and have a car and have a high standard lifestyle. For example, going to the gym, doing activities, everything costs money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that leave one to do? Yes, we need money. Some people don't need to work and that's great for them. But if you're like me, you need to earn a living. You need to go out and earn money to pay for your life. Now, when you're working, you shouldn't be working just to survive. If you can excuse me, I'm a bit slow in this video. I'm just shocked at what I've been seeing recently.
Gonna get worse.
One should not be working full time in what's supposed to be a first world country just to survive.
Mm.
Most people that work in this country, they cannot even save money. So after you've paid your rent and your bills and all your fees,
same in America.
Even if you've made cuts, for example, you've decided to stop paying for Disney Plus or Netflix or something like that. Even if you're just...
By the way, I hate when they say that. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap shit. Stop with the avocado toast. Stop with the Starbucks coffee. Cancel your Hulu and your Netflix. Shut the fuck up. Nobody ever got rich canceling that shit or saving $7 on a coffee. You get rich by multiple income streams, by increasing income exponentially, which can't happen in this society today because half the jobs are ghost jobs. They don't even exist. They're farming your fucking information so they could sell it for profit. It's insane, dude, what this economy is. We live in like this gig, fake, half fake economy with like an underground component because damn near everybody I knew was pumping some products up on the side back in the days to make ends meet or a side hustle or something, fixing up, repairing shit and reselling it on like Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp and all that stuff, Craigslist, just to make ends meet, bro. Everybody had to have a hustle because your job doesn't pay enough. Shit is all a facade, man.
Paying for the necessities, even after paying for those, you have
the trap.
Literally nothing left.
Never get ahead.
Enjoy. Now, whose fault is this?
Central banks.
For what's become of this country.
And the people who run them. The money lizards.
I'm not going to point fingers and point at one person, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the government's fault? It may not be the government's fault for everything.
Bankers.
They are in a position to fix these issues. They don't need to magically make these issues disappear, but they need to at least help people.
You live in a two-tier society, my friend. Have you forgotten? The bankers control everything. The bankers finance countries. The bankers finance campaigns. And the bankers tell the politicians what they should be doing. Like in America with the Federal Reserve. That is a private company. That's not public. That's not the people's bank. That's just a group of dudes who make the rules and enrich themselves and their friends and control the financial markets creating boom bust cycles, inflating and depreciating the value of the dollar because they can, and no one's going to stop them. Go learn about the history of central banking, my friend.
In the UK, they have took away a certain benefit from a certain group of people who are pensioners with disabilities. And this benefit that the UK government has taken from them is heat.
Wow.
So you've got old pensioners with disabilities who don't earn a lot. They're on state pension. They've been unable to work and save a lot of money for their pension. They may not have private pension. They have what they have. And winter is coming here in the UK. And winter is long. And winter is very cold. And people need heat. These people need heat in their homes. The government have taken it away. They've decided to make cuts. And they've chose to take
Bet they got money for Ukraine, though.
away this benefit where they provide
And Israel.
funding for heating these people's homes during the winter, and they're not getting it anymore. That
Tragic.
is not a government I want to pay tax to. The amount of tax that we pay in the UK is quite high.
Nearly half.
It's quite high, even compared to other countries like Australia and the USA. I'm taxed 20%. That's income tax, 20%. So for every £100 I earn, they take £20 away.
Mhm.
Plus national insurance, which is basically, if you're American, national insurance is like your social security. So I pay about 7% national insurance, so that's 27%. So they take £27 for every £100 that I earn. So when you add it all up, it's quite a lot. So when I'm looking at my paycheck and I look at how much they've taken, that's quite a substantial figure. That is an amount of money that I could actually do something with. No, I don't mind paying tax, but at rates that high, it's quite concerning, especially when you're living in a country where they're making cuts, like taking...
So remember, he falls into that lower income rate. The basic rate, because I just pulled it up here, the basic rate in the UK is 20% from 12,000 to 50,000 pounds. Anybody making higher than 50,000 pounds, you know how much they take from you? From 50,000 to 125? 40%, bro. The jump isn't progressive, like 20, 25, 30 as the income bracket rises. No. The moment you surpass the cutoff of 50,271, you jump from 20 to 40%. And then anything above that is 45. Can you imagine that? So if you make imagine in the United States, you make over $50,000 and the government is just like, yeah, I'll take 40% of that shit. And if you're in the US and you made like over, say, 130,000, that's automatic 45%. That's just the taxes, not counting the health insurance and all that other shit. Damn. Wow.
vulnerable people heating away.
And they got no money for heating programs. Half.
So the UK is going downhill. This is not a good country to live in. It's not a good country to actually grow up in and work. The best thing you can do if you're British, born here, schooled here, if you're young and working, especially if you're ambitious and adventurous, the best thing you can do is get out of the UK. Now, I know what it's like to live in other countries because I have lived in other countries. I've lived in Japan for about almost 9 years. I have lived in the USA as well for a short time. But because I've spent a lot of my life in Japan, things are not perfect. No country is perfect. Absolutely not. Japan is not perfect. But if I compare Japan to the UK when it comes to standard of living and how much you can earn and what they deduct from your paycheck, when I was working in Japan, they deducted about 10% income tax. That's half of what I pay. And I was earning more actually at the time. So I was making a lot of money in Japan. Healthcare is not free there, but the healthcare system is very good. You're not waiting months to see a doctor in Japan. You are paying probably about 100 to 200 pounds per month on health insurance.
That's still great.
You are getting top quality healthcare quickly when you need it. Not only that, the standard of life in Japan is far higher than that of the UK when it comes to safety, when it comes to cleanliness of the streets. I'm not saying their government is perfect, but they make a lot of good decisions that make sense. Their infrastructure is incredible.
Bar none, yeah.
They have low prices for food and eating out. So a lot of people eat out in Japan, like almost every day. It's very common for people to just go to a nice restaurant, eat some nice food. There's all different kinds of restaurants there. Not in the UK. No. If you're eating out every day in the UK, you are rich. Because going to a restaurant here in the UK will cost you, if you're just ordering one main with a side and a drink, that's going to cost you about £40, about $50. And they add a 10% service fee. Yeah. So you're paying about £44, about $54 by yourself to eat. In Japan, you can eat good food at a nice restaurant for less than half that. I remember literally paying about £8 for dining in a restaurant in Japan, and that's including a drink. Yeah. So going out to eat out doesn't break the bank in Japan. It does here though. So what does that leave you to do? That just leaves you to go to the supermarket a lot, cook. I like cooking, but it's just nice to eat out sometimes, you know, especially if you're working long hours. If you've made it to this part of the video, then thank you for staying tuned. I mean, it's almost 16 minutes now in this video. I am leaving the UK soon. I'm quitting my job. I appreciate the good things about this country. I really do. But the way I see it, this country is not getting better. Everything is getting more expensive. The government does not care about people at all in this country. They do not care about.
And they wonder why these so-called alternative parties are rising in the polls. Far-right parties, conservative parties, doing better than other. Record turnout, record seats gains in parliament. Why do you think? Just listen to what the common man is going through. Pay attention. This is the disconnect that these governments have no idea how to govern, create a safe, secure society with opportunities for their citizens anymore. It's become a joke. We have managers. We don't have leaders. I've said this all the time. Western Europe is a shithole and it's spreading. Honestly, most of Europe is a shithole. I'll be honest. I live in Romania, Eastern Europe. I'm only here because the arbitrage and I got history here because I myself was born here. I am Romanian American and, you know, for me, it makes sense, especially retiring my family out here. But to live here full time, to start a family here, to think about your future and where you want to lay down roots, it's rough, dude. The whole EU economy is kind of teetering because they got a double whammy. It was COVID, fucked everyone up, but then it was the Ukraine-Russia war that destabilized the energy markets in all of Europe. I mean, Germany's officially in a recession. They got plants closing down. All the auxiliary or adjacent industries related with that are in the hundreds of thousands of jobs also. All the tooling companies and everything, whatever goes into that whole logistical network, right? There's a cascading effect that'll happen and it's going to spread throughout Europe. And they don't, because the EU bureaucracy here, they don't innovate. The only innovators in the world today is basically China and the United States. Let's be real. Name the largest companies in the world. They're mostly Chinese or American. Like, name the innovators of the world. Like, where's the Silicon Valley in EU? Where are all the startups here? Where's all the new technologies? Where's the AI company booms? Not one is in the EU. Not one, guys, that you could point to. All that shit is going on either in the US or China. That's it. So this place is like a dead or dying, decaying kind of feeling when you're around here. I mean, yeah, people get by with less and they seem genuinely happy. And, you know, it's like not as stressed out as some of the Western nations. I'm speaking for Eastern Europe, but still, America is the land of opportunity for a reason when it comes to making money. Just America has its own issues. Nowhere is perfect, just like he says. But damn, man, it's if I had a do-over, I would not be picking the EU to start a business. I wouldn't be picking the EU to live in full time unless you're making a substantial. Like if you're in a position where you're earning something like 15, 20, 30 plus $1,000 a month, anywhere you go is going to be great. America will be great. You're going to be gated off in a nice community. Europe will be great. You could go live somewhere in Switzerland, have the best healthcare, best technology, best colleges in the world, safe society, all that stuff. You could have access to everything when you got money. Almost every country turns to gold. But to be an average citizen today, it hurts. Especially so in the Western countries, because these boys are getting taxed big time, 40% to make 50,000 and up. How insane is that, dude? 40% of your check. Every dollar you make, the government keeps 40 cents and the roads are crumbling. Migrant invasions are happening. It's unsafe. You could get shanked on the street. You can't even afford to go out and eat. They're cutting programs for old people to heating and God knows what other programs, social programs are going to get cut. Got to wait months for a doctor. I mean, that's a sign of a failing society. Look at it. Who the hell wants to start? Who looks at the future and goes, yeah, this is a bright place. This is where I'm going to set down roots, start a family, build something. He can't afford a car. Like, imagine, man, and they're talking about like, where's the population drop coming from? Where's the ticking time bomb? Where's the collapse? Why are we having it? Look at what an average person has to deal with. Insanity. Look at the comments. Former British soldier and police officer left the UK this year. Fuck that country. Good riddance. One said it's by design. The intent is to consume all middle and lower class estates. Look at this. Sorry, man. As a Brit living in Bulgaria, every time I'm in the UK, it depresses me and literally cannot wait to leave. Some psychopathic political decisions being made. The UK is a poor country with a rich city. Eesh. The UK acts as if it's still a 5-star hotel when in reality it's now a 3-star hotel at best. It has been in decline for years. Successive Tory and Labour governments are partly to blame. It is soulless and has lost direction and moral clarity of any kind. It has lost its way. Look at this. I'm a Romanian who's been living in the UK for over 14 years and I'm planning to go home next year. Living costs have gone through the roof. Trying to buy a house here was a humiliating experience where estate agents would ask me outright if I'm a cash buyer. Because who doesn't have 200,000 in their pocket in their 20s, right? I feel sorry for all the Brits, especially the elder generation who were brought up in a country that no longer exists. Finally, I don't want my children to be spoon-fed this new PC atrocity, which is now spreading like wildfire in the UK educational institutions. I genuinely hope the UK manages to overcome, grow a pair, and look after its people, because I don't think their grandparents stormed French beaches in 44 for this. Wow. I'll leave it at that. If you guys enjoy this episode, check out this dude in his multi-part series. His channel's called Daryl Solis, by the way. Links will be in the description. And take care, everybody.